What are brain pockets?
Brains are just another visual. I think one of the other things about me and the way I teach is and I think you're like this too, is I'm a very visual learner. So I kind of need to see concepts as tangibles rather than abstracts. And so brain pockets are the way that I describe how our brains think. So when I'm talking to kids about reading, and writing, in fact. But when I'm talking about reading, one of the things that I will say to students, when you're reading and you're trying to make sense of the story, one of the ways that we can make sense of the story and think about it, use our brain reading, is to make a connection. And making a connection means that we're reading the book, and as we're reading it, we're thinking, oh, this reminds me of something else. Like this reminds me of my brother, or this reminds me of a place that I've gone to, for the summer holiday. And those connections, as soon as you start connecting to the story, it brings understanding. You're bringing yourself into the text. But the question we ask students, I want to dive a little deeper, is where are our connections coming from? Like, where do they come from? And so we think about our brains, right? Our connections are coming from our brains, but what is it in our brains that we're connecting with? So if you visualize a brain, so I'll draw a picture of a brain. So you think about your brain as being the source for your, all the actions and thoughts in your body. It's not a very small body part, and we can't see it, but it's vital to our existence. Brains are the storage place for thought. All of our thinking, if you really, that's kind of an amazing concept, that thought is stored in one place of our body, in our bodies. We don't have thinking in our fingertips. We don't have thinking on our elbows. Thoughts are held in our brains. And so in order to have a sense of what that looks like, I draw a picture of a brain and I say our brains are very clever. And every single thought in our head, if we had it stored in our brain all together, it would be super confusing. It would be all mixed up. So our brains help organize our thoughts into 3 pockets. We have one pocket of our brain that holds memories. It's called our memory pocket. And it's there for experiences. So every time something that we do, we go on a bike ride, we go on a hike, we go swimming, we go to a birthday party, all those thoughts get stored in our memory pocket. And then we have another pocket of our brain that holds information, knowledge. That's called our fact pocket. And all facts that we learn about dinosaurs or hockey or life cycles or global warming, all those facts go up there. And our third pocket is our creativity. It's our imagination pocket. And the imagination pocket is where all of our imagination lies, all our creative thoughts. I wish I had a pet unicorn. I'm imagining I have a pet. If you teach grade 2, you have to get to know unicorns. Grade 2, we all want a unicorn. Okay, let's imagine what that would be like. Go into your imagination pocket, find your unicorn, let's talk about it. So you draw this picture of a brain with 3 pockets. And all of a sudden, this is kind of building metacognition with kids, but all of a sudden, our brains become more tangible places for thinking. So now I'm going to go back to that. Where do your connections come from? Your connections come from your brain, but your brain has different pockets. So it depends on what you're reading. So Erin, if you're reading Harry Potter, most likely you're going to be finding connections in your imagination pocket. If you're reading all about volcanoes, you're probably going to be visiting your fact pocket. If you're reading about two friends who have a big fight and don't speak to each other anymore and then become friends again, you're probably in your memory pocket. So what I help kids do is find their connections in the different pockets. But then what I love about the brain pockets is it works really well for writing, because I say to the student, where do writers get their ideas for writing? Guess what? Writers get their ideas from their brain pockets. Depending on what they want to write, if they want to write facts, they're going into their fact pocket. If they want to write about unicorns, they're going into their imagination pocket. If they want to write about their friend, they're in their memory pocket. So those brain pockets have become incredibly helpful resources, tangibles for making, it's kind of making thinking visible. Does that make sense? Like it's making it more concrete and it's giving it language. So that's brain pockets.